Hello and welcome to Football Unscripted. I'm Marco and I'm going to talk about Liverpool's transfer activity. First, we're going to start with the arts. I'm going to start with Oxlade-Chamberlain. Obviously, a few clubs interested in him, a few Premier League clubs. I think Man U's been linked in there. And I think we're looking for a region around 10 million quid, which obviously you take. He'd had a lot of injuries for us. So, yeah, I think that's good for all parties if he departs the club. Next, we'll move on to Minamino. Paid about 7 million for him. Never really going to get a starting berth for this squad. He's done well in cups, but again, a bit like Chamberlain really. It would be better if he left, free up some funds for further activities in the transfer. Obviously, the next one saddens me. In Divock Origi, he's had some big moments at this club. Obviously, he's never been a starter for us, but you look at the games against Everton, Barca, Dortmund back in the day, he's a big game player, and I'm sad to see him go. But I think it's time for him to go as well, even though I'm sad. We'll move on to the people coming into the club, and we'll start with the first signing we made. Carvalho looks a promising player. Obviously done very well at Fulham last season. Looks a creative player, a bit like a Coutinho type, you know, in and around the box, quick feet, always wants to play the give and go. I've seen a lot of him, to be fair. I've watched a bit of the Championship with Fulham, and he looks a good signing, a bit like Harvey Elliott, who we got from Fulham as well. So hopefully, I can't see him starting, but I reckon in the cup games, a bit like Harvey Elliott, bring him in slowly, and I think it'll be good for the future. And next, we'll go on to another young prospect in Calvin Ramsey. Reports that we've agreed a fee of £4 million. Obviously, I think this is a deal which you don't really lose at. 4 million quid, nothing in today's market. He looks promising. I don't know much about him. He plays in the Scottish League, obviously. The Premier League's different altogether. So we'll see about him. He looks alright. I mean, he's one of them you'll have to wait and see. He's never going to take Trent's spot. So for me, I don't see why we're signing a young prospect. A bit like Nico Williams, I can see the same thing happening with him, where he's going to want to play, and obviously he's not going to get much game time over Trent. But we'll see with him. He's one of them. We'll go on to the big money signing. Obviously, I'm excited, but I have my doubts about him, to be honest. A lot of money paid, and 85 million with add-ons, which is not a Liverpool signing, to be fair. A few doubts I have is obviously the money we've paid. Will we recoup it if it didn't go well? 2, we've had big strikers before. Benteke, Carroll, big money players, didn't work. Obviously, he's a bit different, but I do have my doubts. And obviously, the money's coming to replace Mane. That is, we'll go on to that in a minute. But yeah, Nunez, I'm excited for him, but like I said, I do have my doubts. When I first heard the news, I thought a bit iffy about it. In all honesty, I thought United would grab him, but we swooped in, got the deal done, and we'll have to wait. I think the thing with big money signings, what Klopp's done, you look at people, Van Dijk, Alisson, who we spent over 50 million on. They've all been major assets to the club. So hopefully Nunez follows in them footsteps. A few other things. Obviously, that's the players we've bought in. I'm going to go on to places I think we need to strengthen further in the transfer window. And I think the big one is the midfield. I think we're weak there, to be fair. I think that's what cost us last season in the big cups. I think you look at Thiago, Fabinho, they're the only two who warrant a starting berth in the three. Henderson ran out of legs. Milner, you can't ask a 36-year-old to keep playing week in, week out. Naby Keita, I don't. He's a bit part player. We paid a lot of money for him, and he's not lived up to it yet. He's had a lot of injuries, so hopefully this season is his season if we don't get anyone. Obviously, we've been linked with people like Bellingham, but I don't see that happening this summer. I think that's a next summer target. I think it's obvious we're in for him, but reports are that obviously Real Madrid are coming in for him. I don't see him leaving this summer, because one, Real Madrid have just signed Tuchel Mendes, who again I would be happy with. And obviously Liverpool was in for him. He had a big price tag on his head as well. But if we can get Bellingham next summer, I wouldn't mind waiting this year, obviously. But you kind of taking this year's away a bit, waiting for someone like that. I think we do need to act now and go and get a accomplished midfielder, in more of a creative midfielder, I think, really, as well. We've got Thiago, who likes to keep the ball. We've got Fabinho, the Dyson Hoover, just covers everything. So if we can get that creative midfielder, I think that makes the team balanced, to be fair. And there's not much more to cover with Liverpool on that. Obviously, I'm not overly stressed of the transfers we do. We've already got a very, very good squad. I think the main things is the Salah contract. We've got to get that sorted in the window. I think that'll be like a new signing. Firmino, I'm not fussed what he does, to be fair. If he signs a new contract, he'll be a bit part player. If he leaves, good luck to him. He's been a good player for us. And obviously, Mane leaving, and that's another why I worry about Nunez. Just because he's the man he's replacing. Mane reportedly going to Bayern Munich, which is a big loss for us. And one thing I will say about Mane is I like the player, but the way he's left, I'm not very happy with. He came out before the Champions League final saying he's got big surprise. I don't think he should do that. I think that takes away from the Champions League and the concentration on the Champions League. I think, because he's always been a quiet player, I think people knew he was leaving then. So for me, he shouldn't have started. I would have started Jota. That's a big call, because obviously Mane is the better player and he didn't have a bad final. But yeah, that's the big news for Liverpool. Mane leaving and Nunez in to replace him. I think that rounds it up, to be fair. Obviously we've had 3 signings, a few arts. We'll see how the rest of it goes. And that's it. Cheers.